Hi everybody, how are you? Welcome back. My name is Ms. Khulud and we are going to have our first lesson in grammar in Prep 3. We are going to listen to a conversation and from this conversation we are going to guess what's our grammar lesson going to be. Okay, and then I'm going to explain to you our lesson. Let's listen together.
John, it looks like you never focus in the class and fall asleep these days. Do you have any problems? I'm sorry, teacher. What time did you go to bed last night? 12 at midnight. Oh no. What were you doing? I was playing a computer game. Oh, John. Do you play computer games that late every day? Almost every day. Time flies when I play computer games. What should I do? Why don't you try this? First, set your game time and let the alarm go on when the game is up. So, I set the end time on my alarm clock when I start playing the game. Yes, that's right. I think using your watch or phone would be better. That's a good idea. Do you have any other hobbies besides computer games? Soccer, basketball, and I like to ride a skateboard. Yes, I heard that you were good at skateboarding. Yup, of course. I can hop while skateboarding. That's awesome. I will expect your change later.
Okay, so come on, let's guess together. What's going to be our lesson? Yes, it's going to talk about giving an advice. As we know, when I'm going to give an advice, I use should or shouldn't. Today in our lesson, we are going to know how or in many ways we can use should or shouldn't in giving advice. Should and shouldn't, how we can use it. Okay? Okay, let's see together. Giving advice using should and shouldn't. We use should and shouldn't to say that something is or isn't a good idea, and we use them to give advice. I'm going to show you the form. As we know, we have affirmative, negative, and interrogative. In affirmative, first of all, we are going to use the subject, should, plus infinitive. As we know, after should comes infinitive. For example, you, that is the subject, should. After the subject, study is the infinitive, and we are going to complete. You should study hard for your exam. You should study hard for your exam. Negative, subject, plus shouldn't, plus infinitive. You shouldn't watch too much TV. You shouldn't watch too much TV. An interrogative, we can use it in two ways. That is with question word, and we can use it with should only. See, in question word, we are going to use question word plus should plus subject plus infinitive. If we are not going to use question word, we are going to just use should. Okay? Have an example. Should I fill the application for the new job? Okay, another way for advice, as I told you, we have many ways. We are going to study 7 ways here. First, you should or shouldn't plus infinitive. I can use it in the first way. If I were you, I would, wouldn't plus infinitive. I want you to remember something. In if conditional, in this one, in this conditional, that is in the second conditional, the subject I will use with it where. If it is he, she, it, there, they, we, or I, okay, only in the second conditional with if I use where. I can't say she was, no, or he was, no. In the second conditional with if I use where in all the subjects, okay. So the first way in giving an advice is if I were you, I would or wouldn't, and I know after would or wouldn't comes infinitive. You should eat healthy food. You should eat healthy food. So what will I do? When I want to change it and I want to use another way, I will not also use should. I will remove should, because should means this meaning. If I were you, I would. So let's see, how will I write it? If I were you, I would eat healthy food. If I were you, I would eat healthy food. The second way, I advise you to, not to, plus infinitive. And as I know, after to comes infinitive. Let's see. You shouldn't smoke. How will I use it? And as I told you, I will remove shouldn't, because advice gives the same meaning. I advise you not to smoke. I advise you not to smoke. Okay. Third, you'd better not plus infinitive. You'd better not plus infinitive. You should look for another job. You should look for another job. You'd better look for another job. You'd better look for another job. See, what did I do? I remove should and I put you'd better. I can also use it with the first one. If I were you, I'd look for another job. Okay? Okay. Let's see the fourth one. It's a good idea. It's important for, and I will put the subject to, not to, plus infinitive, which is equal to, it's advisable to, not to, plus infinitive, which is equal to, it's recommended to, not to, plus infinitive. Let's see. You should do exercise to keep fit. You should do exercise to keep fit. How can I do it? Let's see. It's a good idea. See? It's a good idea. So what did I do? I just removed you should. I just removed you should. And instead of you should, I put it's a good idea. It's a good idea of what? It's a good idea, and I complete the sentence. To do exercise to keep fit. It's a good idea to do exercise to keep fit. In another way, Khalid should write what he remembers. Khalid should write what he remembers. It's important for, and I put the subject. It's important for Khalid. I remove should, and after the subject I put to. So it's important for Khalid to write what he remembers. It's important for Khalid to write what he remembers. Okay? Okay. I can use it also with it's a good idea. It's a good idea for Khalid to write what he remembers. So it depends upon how can I use it in this way. Okay? Let's see the fifth way. You ought to, not to, plus infinitive. You should help the poor. You should help the poor. You ought to help the poor. What did I do? I just removed should and I put ought to. Okay? So you ought to help the poor. Number 6. You should avoid plus verb ing, which is equal to you shouldn't plus infinitive. I can use the both way. You shouldn't smoke. You shouldn't smoke. You should avoid smoking. You should avoid smoking. In another way, you should stop smoking. You should stop smoking. Okay? I can use it also in this way. The seventh one, my advice to you is to, my advice to you is to, not to plus infinitive, which is equal to you should or shouldn't plus infinitive. Let's see. My advice to you is to study hard. My advice to you is to study hard. So how can I do it with should? You should study hard. What did I do? I just removed my advice to you. My advice to you is to, and I put instead of it, you should study hard. Okay? Okay. Now, let's do some exercise together. Write the following using the words in brackets to give the same meaning. I advise you to study hard for the exam. I advise you to study hard for the exam. I have should. So what will I do? Come on, let's guess. Yes, I am going to remove I advise you to. And instead of it, I will write you should study hard for the exam. You should study hard for the exam. Okay? The second one, you should study your lessons carefully. You should study your lessons carefully. So what will I do? Yes, I will remove should. I advise you to study your lessons carefully. I advise you to study your lessons carefully. Okay? I advise you to study your lessons carefully. Let's see the third way. You should read this book. You should read this book. If, so I'm going to use the second conditional here. If I were you, I'd read this book. If I were you, I'd read this book. If I were you, I'd read this book. Okay? Okay. I want to keep fit. What do you advise me to do? Do you remember how we are going to make question? WH question plus should plus the subject and the verb infinitive. What should I do to keep fit? WH question, should, subject, verb infinitive. Yes. What should I do to keep fit? What should I do to keep fit? Let's see the fifth one. You should look for another job. You should look for another job. Better. Oh, better. How can I use it? Let's see. Yes, you'd better look for another job. You'd better look for another job. Okay? I hope you understand how can I make advice or how can I give advice by the 7 ways. So today we learned not only we can use should in giving advice, we can use it in many ways. We can use it with if, we can use it I advise you, and I better, if I were you, it's important too, it's a good idea too. Okay? I hope you understand our grammar lesson for today, and thank you for listening very much. Thank you. Thank you.